The following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Don't look now, but it's almost the 4th of July. Oh, you know what they say. Come the 4th of July, you blink, and then it's Labor Day.
True.
That's quite true. Not rushing the season, but that's the way it goes. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM and online, WPGTalkRadio.com. So you have many ways to listen, and we hope you'll stay with us. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. We have a special guest later on today at 11 o'clock. We're going to have John Runfellow, who is the president of the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to talk about what's happening tomorrow in Hamilton, the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival. And that's a lot of fun, and John will be here and tell us all about it. And look, you got something to do tomorrow. You do now. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, that'll be happening tomorrow in Hamilton. Again, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Rarely do I post anything on social media, but I'll tell you how I got roped into posting on social media the other day. Well, actually, it was yesterday, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But I think we have to talk about the debate happening Thursday night, and I watched about 40 minutes of it, and I'll tell you, it was a joke. It really was. If you were thinking even slightly about voting for Joe Biden, how could you do it? I mean, very clearly and obviously, Donald Trump won the debate. It wasn't even close. I mean, it just wasn't. He was clear, concise, didn't do much name calling, which was good. Although he did say, and I thought the same thing myself, when Biden said something, he says, I don't know what he said, and I don't think he even knew what he said. Well, it was true. Do the American people even want Joe Biden as president? Or is it the old hate Donald Trump routine? And I think a lot of it has to do with that, hating Donald Trump. But let's look at the facts. Joe Biden has done virtually nothing right. From inflation to immigration to foreign policy to energy policies, you name it, Biden has gotten it wrong. Let's not talk about Afghanistan. As an aside to all of this, I must tell you, and I'll get back to this, rarely do I comment, but if you remember my cousin, you remember that when Trump was president? Oh, that's all she could do was talk about how Trump was bad. Here is what she posted yesterday on Facebook. She said, Biden may be old, but Trump is an insane liar. If Joe Biden was senile and was hooked up to an IV, I would still vote for him rather than that criminal and would-be dictator. Do you believe that? And there are many people that were chiming in on that. Oh, it's not his fault about inflation. Well, whose fault is it? Inflation was 1.4 when he took office. In 3 months, it was 9. Whose fault is that? It's just incredible the way people, and look, I don't love Donald Trump, but the facts are the facts. He did a better job as president than Joe Biden. But I don't know about the polls because they usually don't show much movement either way. after debates, traditionally, so it remains to be seen what happens. Meanwhile, the Democrats have got to be worried about their candidate. And as we've heard a few callers say here on the show, and a few have mentioned it, maybe it's time for the Democrats to pull the plug on Joe Biden. But I don't suppose they will, and I hope they don't. But if I were them, man, I'll tell you, that performance the other night was just awful for Joe Biden. Statistically, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are now in a dead heat in Pennsylvania. But then again, Hillary was ahead of Donald Trump in 2016, and we know what happened there. So here's the thing, though. As long as Donald Trump keeps to the same message, and as I've said before, there are times when he's got to hammer home the points of inflation, immigration. I mean, and he said it on the debate, he just opens the borders and he's letting criminals in. And anybody. It just doesn't matter. But that's what he's got to do. Hammer home those points, like he did the other night. And as I told my cousin after her rant on Facebook, if Biden is reelected, are you going to pay my bills? That's what I said. Oh, it's not the president. Oh, it's not. What? Who is it then? Who is it? Who's causing the inflation? Okay? It's so obvious. And one person said, oh, this is economics. We learned that in the 5th grade. I didn't learn that in the 5th grade, that Joe Biden came in and all of a sudden things turned around. It's just funny how liberals work. And then my cousin says, oh, respect my opinion. I respected yours. No, you didn't. You didn't respect my opinion. Calling a guy a dictator, a wannabe dictator? Where did they get that? Because he said, oh, he likes Putin. Well, so what? It's just the facts are there, and I don't understand why people don't look at the facts. It is obvious. If you're at 1.4 inflation and the economy was rolling, and then of course we had COVID. Oh, Joe Biden, we got us out of COVID. No, he didn't. No, he did not. Donald Trump fast-tracked the vaccine, and it was the vaccine that got us out of COVID, not Joe Biden. Yeah, he threw money at it. By the way, and I'll mention this later on, Joe Biden spent $22 trillion. Our debt was $4.4 trillion when he took office. And in 2 years, he spent $22 trillion. And he wants to keep on spending. And that's the Democratic way. And that's the Joe Biden way. And you just can't keep doing that. I don't know what else to tell you, but it's really... You would have thought that after that debate, it was so obvious. I mean, how many times... It reminded me of the old Chris Berman, the sportscaster, when he would say something about rumbling, stumbling, bumbling. Well, that's what Biden was, rumbling, stumbling, and bumbling. I don't know. I hope the people see what I saw and what a lot of people saw. Donald Trump should win the presidency based on what we saw alone the other night. We'll see. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. We'll get to the phone calls in just a couple of minutes. But first, we have the one and only Seth Grossman, who probably has plenty to say about the debate and other things. Seth, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, I do. And the folks at libertyandprosperity.com will be meeting Saturday morning, 9:30 to 10:30 to talk about that stuff. And after our discussions, what we talk about gets posted on our libertyandprosperity.com website. And we invite everybody to go to that website. And if you don't like what we are talking about or what our thoughts are, you could comment on what we post, or you could show up at our next Saturday meeting and give us your thoughts. And even better, if you could sign up for our free weekly emails, just sign up through the website or contact me, Seth Grossman. I'll put you on by hand. And, of course, if you really like what we're doing, help us stay on the radio programs like this by making an online donation or sending us a check for Liberty and Prosperity. But here's one case I agree with you. Trump did very good in that Thursday night debate, and Biden did awful. And debates do affect the election, especially close elections. And but it also means that, remember 4 years ago, Trump did awful in the debate. It was cringeworthy. Biden, cleaned Trump's clock in 2020. And so when Biden won a close election, Democrats cheat. But one of the reasons Biden won in 2020 was because Trump did awful. At this time, Trump did very good, and it's likely that if Biden is the candidate, Trump will win the November election. I think most people agree with that. But here's what makes it interesting. Yesterday, the New York Times editorial board wrote that it is very urgent for Biden to step down and let Democrats pick somebody else. Until the debate, the New York Times was saying that Biden was fine and that Republicans were making fake videos trying to show that Biden was out of it. So why is the editorial board of the New York Times so important? Why is the New York Times more important than the Press of Atlantic City or the Philadelphia Inquirer or the Washington Post? Well, for a couple reasons. You may notice, and a lot of media people have pointed this out, that if you read the New York Times one day, you'll notice that every TV news program, that every newspaper around the country will have the New York Times stories as their top stories for the next few days. So the New York Times controls the national mainstream news. And years ago, Rush Limbaugh, made this observation. We always talk about how the Democrats control the media, but Rush Limbaugh pointed out that it's the other way around, that it's the media and whoever controls the media who are controlling the Democrats. And it reminds me of when the communists ran Russia. They had this newspaper called Pravda, which means the truth, and every communist in the world had to support whatever that newspaper Pravda said they were supposed to support. And every time, every week, that would change. And sometimes when I guest host some radio programs, I'll show that not only did the politicians change to follow what the communist newspaper said they should be supporting, but even our famous left-wing folk singers like Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger would change the protest songs they would sing based on what the communist newspaper Pravda said they were supposed to be supporting or what they were supposed to be opposing. And all those songs are on YouTube, and you could have fun doing that. So whenever the Democrats would step out of line with what the New York Times editorial board wanted, you'll find out that those Democrats ended up in trouble. So it seems that very few Democrats go against the New York Times editorial board. And again, yesterday they said that Biden has to step down. Now, how are the Democrats going to do that? Basically, they have a problem because when Biden went along and said it's time that we have a black female as vice president, he was really saying that the next president should be a black female, and now we have Kamala Harris as the vice president, and it looks like Michelle Obama doesn't want to run. So the Democrats are going to have a hard time finding a replacement for Biden, but still, my guess is they're going to find a way, because they always seem to do, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think that, listen, strategy, we don't want that, but strategy says, hey, get this guy out of there, because he just, I don't think he can last. I don't even think he can last till the election.
And it's not just with Biden. I mean, the Democrats did that with Lyndon Johnson. an incumbent with a lot of support in 1964. Here in New Jersey, as soon as Jim McGreevey had some problems, he was gone. Remember the torch? Senator Robert Torricelli just had some minor ethics problems, which would be nothing today with campaign donations. And as soon as I actually remember that, I think it was in 2004, suddenly the teachers union takes a public opinion poll and finds out that Torricelli, the torch, is behind in the polls. And within 6 weeks, he was gone. And they had, Lautenberg took his place.
Yes.
And they did the same thing with Bob Menendez. So Republicans have this loyalty. Republicans, but Democrats don't. Whatever it takes to win, they're going to win. So that's a possibility that they will replace Biden and win by whatever means necessary. But then there's another dark possibility, and that is that the Democrats can live with 4 years of Trump as president. And there was a very interesting article posted by Victor Davis Hanson a couple of days ago called "The Logic in All the Madness." And basically what Victor Davis Hanson is saying is the Democrats have destroyed the country so badly that Trump will not be able to turn things around, and so that the collapse of the country will happen while Trump is president, and that'll let the Democrats, run the country forever. And Victor Davis Hanson points out that during the past 3 years, the Democrats brought 2 million illegal aliens, invaders into our country, on top of the 40 million who came under Bush, Obama, and Trump. And if Trump did not do or could not do the mass deportations last time, he won't do it this time, and that's going to give the Democrats 50 million, what do you call them, dependent, indoctrinated voters to run the country no matter what Trump does. So the key thing is mass deportations, and hopefully Trump will have the ability to do that and turn things around. And by the way, you can't say, well, we have many of the illegal aliens are violent criminals, so we're going to deport all the criminals. And that's not nearly enough. What, you're going to deport a couple 100,000 criminals and leave their wives and their kids and all their relatives here and think that you're still going to have a country 4 years later? So that's one serious problem. And the other thing that Hansen talks about is this $36 trillion of debt. Right now, with the federal government in full control of health care, colleges, high schools, we're spending $4 trillion more than we take in each year. That's $1 trillion every 90 days. The interest that we're paying in debt is 13% of the budget. I think we're paying more for interest payments than we're paying for our military. How can that go on? Bill Bonner pointed out in the 1930s the government controlled 10% of the economy. Now controls 50%. One half of everything we earn is paid for in direct or indirect taxes. And most voters have given up. They don't even want spending cuts. They're saying, well, keep spending more. Let's have more debt so I can get a little bit more. And American voters are now as corrupt as the politicians we complain about. So those, aren't those three cheerful thoughts of how we deal with this? Anyway, I hope that I know that Donald Trump is, admires that guy in Argentina, Javier Milei. And what he did, Javier Milei in Argentina fired tens of thousands of government workers in his first week, canceled hundreds of public works projects, and balanced the budget and cut inflation by by like 90% in 6 months. So maybe we need a guy like him. Javier Milei campaigned by waving around a chainsaw, saying if he was elected, he'd put a chainsaw to government, and that's exactly what he did. But that's the kind of radical things that we sort of need if we're going to turn things around.
Boy, now that you put it that way, a cheerful start to the morning.
Yeah. But by the way, and we also have to pay attention with what's happening locally and in state governments. When you read the local weekly newspapers, you read the Cape May Herald, you read the Ocean City Sentinel, you read the Hamilton Gazette. It's all the same story. The school taxes are going up by 8% here. They're going up 9% there. The city taxes are going up. And you're saying, well, why are all the local property taxes going up so much if we, the people, we're not earning that much more? So when the taxes go up at a higher rate than what we're earning, it means we have less, and the people who work for the government have more. And, of course, now they have other paid holidays. And that's happening for a couple reasons. Number one, it's because Governor Murphy is manipulating the income tax, which, again, is called the Property Tax Relief Fund. Every dollar that is collected from New Jersey's income tax goes into this fund that can be used for no other purpose but to lower property taxes. The problem is that Murphy and the Democrats could funnel that money to lower the property taxes of just the people they feel like lowering it. So every year they give more money to the 32 major Democrat cities, and then they give more to a couple other Democrat cities or people they have connections with, like Wildwood or Ocean City, for various reasons. And everybody else pays more because there's less state aid to offset the income tax. But the real reason is that everyone who works for the government gets automatic cost of living hikes in their salaries, in the benefits, in many cases pensions. We talked about the whole pension fraud, how you manipulate pensions, and nobody says, well, can the taxpayers afford this? The taxpayers aren't making more. How can we make the taxpayers make more? But they don't even care. It never even comes up. It's just, well, the people who work for the government need more money, so let's give it to them. And, oh, well, we have a 8% tax hike there. And especially like in Summers Point, you have fewer students than you've ever had, but you have more tax hikes than you ever had. Go figure that. Well, it means it has everything to do with who you are and who benefits from government. And again, the voters are just totally demoralized. They've given up. They said, I'm never going to fight this. Rush Limbaugh said you can't fight Santa Claus, and he was right. So the only thing that we can do at Liberty and Prosperity is just point out that when you see all this waste in the government, when you see the wind turbines, you see all these programs, the government got a grant here to pay people to do a play or to promote this event or that event, and you say, well, I'm not paying for it. But when you realize that, well, when you go to collect your Social Security, you may get 80 cents on a dollar. When you go to get your pension, you may get 70 cents on a dollar. You find out your electric bills triple. Now you are paying for it, but you're not paying for it right away. And so we're doing our best to tell people to think about, tomorrow, not today. But, Americans used to be a very smart and informed people. But now, people just have the attention span. What are you going to do for me now? I don't care about tomorrow. Like that song in the 60s, wah, 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 live for today. So that's infected our culture. Meanwhile, I'll go to a time for just one more point. The ocean wind turbines. Vince Serra, the mayor of Brigantine, put it best. He said at his first meeting, when they first proposed wind turbines to the Brigantine City Council, the first thing the developers did, they said, oh, by the way, if you support this, this is all the millions of dollars that Brigantine could get for being the first town to support wind turbines. And Vince Serra, the mayor, said, well, if they have to pay us money to support the project, it has to be really, really bad. And it really is bad. But look at all the local officials who are supporting it. Look at all the local officials looking the other way. That's where the money went. Anyway, Liberty and Prosperity meeting right now, or Saturday morning, 9:30 to 10:30 in Summers Point. And if you want to see what we're doing, libertyandprosperity.com.
Thank you, Seth. You ended early. This is a first.
I know. I'll just use that one term. They were using this one figure, talked about the wind turbines. I think it was mentioned that the Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City were getting $1.5 million. from the wind turbine developers. Stockton University, how much money did they get? The New Jersey Economic Development Authority holding a special package. This is the development authority that lost 95% of their all the money they invested in the Revel Casino. So it's all about the money, and we just have to think, somebody's going to have to pay for all this, and don't think it's going to be somebody else. So there, I used up another minute now.
Okay.
I'll be on time at my own libertyandprosperity.com meeting at Sal's Cafe, 501 New Road in Summers Point, right by Groveland Avenue. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too, Seth. Seth Grossman, libertyandprosperity.com is the website. And, of course, the meeting starts at 9:30 this morning if you are so inclined to attend. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, 609-407-1450. Boy, we have some callers waiting. John, Andy, Craig, Bob, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. We'll get started right after these words.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Truist Bank, ServPro Team Fabiani, Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union, Kramer Beverage, McCree Brothers Blueberry Farm, Anino's Cannoli Express, and Master Wire Manufacturing. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. Let's get started. John in Ocean City. And, John, before you start, I'm going to give you a little pointers, okay? You ready? Talk slower.
Okay.
Talk slower, and so we can understand you, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
Cool. All right, that's good advice. Yes, that was a very lively debate the other night, was it not?
Yeah.
My gosh. I wanted to see the expression on the guy's face after the debate, and I saw a non-effect blank stare on the guy's face. I mean, his mouth was slightly open and his eyes were glazed over. And Brian Setzer had said, Democrat operative Brian Setzer had said, well, the cameras didn't do him justice. It's a good thing it didn't pan in on him at that time. Really good. Different bullet points were brought up, Social Security and Medicare. And they'll have to pay their fair share. That's what Biden said. Well, President Trump could have retorted, we'll start with your son who owes $1.5 million in back taxes. We'll start with him. How about that, Right? I mean, seriously. I mean, they don't abide by what they want us to do, not them.
Yeah.
And they want to put the burden on the producers, the people that produce. Politicians don't produce; they take. That's all they do. They talk a bunch of crap, but they don't do anything. But saving Social Security and abortion, well, President Trump had said that yes, it should be in the hands of the states. The individual states should decide. And actually, this third trimester abortion and killing the baby as it's coming out of the womb, that should never be. And then Biden retorted that Roe v. Wade never allowed that. Well, in the beginning, yes, Roe v. Wade it'll never go beyond the first trimester. But now babies are being killed. Full-term babies are being murdered now. That's just a fact. And regarding January 6th, Biden said all the people that were arrested that day deserve to be arrested. Does that include the people that were not armed, that were standing outside the Capitol building? Those people were exercising their First Amendment right to protest, and they're incarcerated even to this day. And they talked about storming the Capitol building. Some tables were overturned and windows are broken. How about Minneapolis burned to the ground? How about nanothermite bombs, nanothermite incendiary bombs being exploded? And Governor Walz called in the National Guard 5 days after the town was already burned down to the ground, basically. And also this idea that the Capitol building was stormed and doors were kicked in. I did not see that. I saw Capitol Police inviting people in. That's what I saw. And also storming the Bastille. Storming the Bastille led to the violent overthrow of King Louis XVI. That's the French Revolution. Storming the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. That led to the overthrow of Tsar Nicholas. That's the beginning of the Soviet Union. So storming the Capitol building was not stormed. That wasn't even hardly anything. If it was, then the National Guard would have had to been called in. And that's what I want to say. Thanks.
Thanks, John. And you took my advice. Very good. Andy in Brigantine. Andy, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. It's a great day in the city of Brigantine.
Yes, it is.
So I watched the entire debate, and these are my thoughts, and you and your listeners can speak to what I'm about to say. First of all, the minute Joe Biden walked out, I knew he was in trouble by the way he was walking, and then he was greeting folks, and there were no folks there.
Yeah.
I guess he was talking, maybe he was talking to the cameraman. I don't know. I believe, and I predicted this could happen, because the Democrats are aware that Joe Biden cannot win, okay? And so they sabotaged Joe Biden. Joe Biden, if he was on any medications or any of the usual stuff that he's on when he gives a speech, he was certainly not on any that night. It was like the old Joe Biden that we see every day, okay? It's almost like his doctors intentionally didn't do anything to help him because they wanted him to fail. Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, who considered Donald Trump Hitler and a threat to democracy, could not have been more respectful to him, even referring to him as President Trump. Now, when have you seen either of those two act respectfully to Donald Trump? But they did.
Yeah.
And they sabotaged Joe Biden, not because of something they did, but because of something they didn't do. And what didn't they do? They didn't try to save him. They just let him out there to let him hang himself. Okay? And that's exactly what Joe Biden did. And the other thing, when Joe Biden was on camera by himself, as bad as he looked exponentially worse when he was on a split screen juxtaposed with Donald Trump. It was analogous to what happened in 1960 during the Nixon-Kennedy debate.
Yeah.
They had the two men side by side, which made Biden look even worse by comparison. He stood there with his mouth agape, like staring into long ago and far away. I don't know what he was thinking of. Okay, so that's that. What took place the other night now has created a national security threat, and even I would say a constitutional crisis. The bad actors around the world who would do us harm now see that they have a 7-month window before Joe Biden leaves the White House if they want to do something to us, because they know once Trump is in, they're not going to be able to pull it. So here's the Hobson's choice that we have now, because they're talking about the 25th Amendment and removing Biden. If you remove Biden now, you have Kamala Harris. Nobody wants that, even the Democrats, because Kamala Harris, Joe Biden can't beat Donald Trump. Certainly Kamala Harris cannot beat Donald Trump. So you're left with keeping things as they are, the status quo. But then you have the risk of, as I said earlier, bad actors doing something before Biden leaves office. But then you have to remember that neither Kamala Harris nor Joe Biden is running things anyway. It's Barack Obama, it's Valerie Jarrett, it's Susan Rice, it's Ron Klain, and Anita Dunn and these other crazies that all surrounded the Obama administration. Okay, now let's suppose they are able to convince Joe Biden to step down. Okay, they cannot get rid of Kamala Harris as a black woman because the black voters would burn the country to the ground.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to keep her in, but you certainly can't elevate her to president.
No.
You have to keep her as vice president, and you have to replace the ticket. You have to replace the president on the ticket. So who do you get? It is not going to be Michelle Obama. She doesn't want this. She hates politics. She's living the life of Riley. She doesn't want any part of this. I still maintain it's going to be Hillary Clinton. Why? Because Hillary Clinton has the name recognition. She's been vetted. She's already run. She's already debated Donald Trump. Okay? And by putting Hillary in, you make the women happy. And by keeping Kamala in, you don't piss off the black voters, okay? And then the Democrats have the luxury of saying that they are the party who ran the first all-female ticket. Now I'm gonna close with this. People say, how could Jill Biden allow this to happen? Supposedly this woman who adores her husband. How could she let him put himself out there, make a fool of himself, and risk his health, which is frail to begin with? There's a story that Joe Biden has told about Hunter when he was a little boy, and he asked Hunter, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Hunter said, Dad, I want to be important. Now, who says that? But if you look at Joe Biden wants to be important too, because she was nobody until she connected with Joe Biden. And as a matter of fact, Jill has told the story about why she got her doctorate. She was envious of Joe because there were packages and letters always coming to the house addressed to Senator Joseph Biden. And Jill would just get packages sent Jill Biden. And she was kind of jealous and envious. So she got a doctorate. So now the packages say Dr. Jill Biden. So she's important now, and she's not going to give it up. And you know, the Democrats have never been closer in American history to having it all and having it all permanently. They're not about to let it go now. So if they throw, Joe Biden really should hire a food taster, because one of these days he's going to go to bed and he's just not going to wake up.
Oh, geez.
They are not about to lose the White House to Donald Trump. But you know something? This is a threat that the entire Democratic Party is at risk here, because if Joe Biden stays and goes down, the Democrat Party is going to go down with him. They're going to lose a million seats in the House and in the Senate. They are not about to let that happen. So they've got to convince Joe Biden to step down. And if that happens, I maintain, as I have all along, that it's going to be Hillary Clinton.
Well, thanks for the call, Andy. We appreciate it. Boy, it's a lot there. Oh, I guess Joe Biden better not go to bed. He better not go to sleep. He may not wake up. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We still have Craig and Bob to get to, and maybe you at 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We'll get back to more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, you know, 4th of July is approaching, and you're probably going to barbecue or have some people over, and what do? Well, I'll tell you, you do what I do, and a lot of people do. You contact BF Mazzio, and you tell them, I got 20 people coming. Can you help me out? And sure enough, they will. Customized orders for 20 people, whether it's a potato salad, coleslaw, macaroni salad, you name it, they'll do it for you. Fruit salad, you name it. It's all right there. and they'll do it for you. BF Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and online at bfmazzio.com. And by the way, you can order online, and they'll deliver. I mean, can they make it any easier than that? BF Mazzio, of course, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. And, you'll find some exotic things. I mean, the other week I bought Chilean sea bass. Now, you wouldn't think that they would carry Chilean sea bass, but they do in their freezer. And salmon and shrimp and all kinds of goodies and all kinds of gourmet items. I mean, it's everything right there in a small store. It's amazing how they pack all these things in. BF Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and again online, bfmazzio.com. Your holiday headquarters for 4th of July or any holiday weekend, or any weekend for that matter, is BF Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and online, bfmazzio.com. We're coming back with more.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and Party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Protein Fabiani, Ocean First Bank, Stockton University Kramer Hall, Top Crop Blueberries, and Variety Farms. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, lexusofatlanticcity.com. That's lexusofatlanticcity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at lexusofatlanticcity.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. We have a high rip current risk in effect from 9 a.m. this morning through this evening. For today, humid with times of clouds and sun with a high of 82. For tonight, cloudy, warm, and humid with a couple of heavy thunderstorms, especially late. Watch for flooding, low 76. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy, warm, and humid with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, high 92. I'm AccuWeather's Caitlin Lawrence on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Let's get back to the callers. Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, good morning, John. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. I thought my eyes were bad. You know, I watched the debate, and I thought it went back to the 60s. I thought I was watching in black and white when I saw Joe. Little poll here real quick, because we got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. Out of 8,000 votes, should Joe step aside? Democrats say 42% yes. Republicans, 64% say yes. And independents, 58%. That's huge. That independent swing is going to be what adds to the fury there. You know that.
Yeah.
But, John, you notice what he did talk about. He said the right to choose.
Yeah.
You know what Donald should have came back with? What's the definition of a woman?
Yeah.
Because, no Democrat has answered that yet.
No.
Correct?
Yes.
Last week we talked about war, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, You heard about the United States just told the United States citizens of Lebanon to clear out the embassy, right?
Yes.
And you heard about North Korea. They're going over to Russia right now to help rebuild those tanks, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And then North Korea's got 3-phase nuclear missiles now. You know that, right?
Yes, I know that too.
Okay. So, a lot of times we come on here and we talk, and Andy, I so agree with you in a big way. Very smart guy. Only I'm just going to slide in there. You say Hillary, and if you notice, Hillary and the Hillary Foundation, the Clinton Foundation came out big this week. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. What happened?
Well, she was talking about her foundation. The only time she talks about her foundation when she gets ready to run, because when she's running, those other people, they fill it up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when she makes her money.
Yeah.
And she's running. So it's fill it up, boys, because if I become the president and you don't fill it up, you're going to be punished.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with what I said last week, where you went, oh geez, Michelle and Hillary. That's where I'm going, and Hillary will be the nominee for the presidency, and Michelle will be the vice president. And yes, there's no way that Biden will be the nominee walking out of the convention. That's my belief. I think that Kamala will step aside because she doesn't have the votes. She can't even keep an office inside there. So, am I wrong there?
No, she's her approval rating is less than Joe Biden's.
But if you notice, when they do polls, they're still keeping Michelle in the poll. So they didn't keep Hillary in a poll. So that's where I'm a little indifferent with Andy on that part.
Yeah.
So lot to see yet. But the biggest thing we've talked about several occasions here is that January 6th. And I sent you something yesterday.
Yes.
Didn't I?
Yes, you did.
What was that about? A Supreme Court?
It's right here. Federal prosecutors supposedly improperly charged hundreds of January 6th defendants with obstruction. The Supreme Court ruled on Friday, upending many cases against the rioters who disputed or disrupted the certification of the 2020 presidential election. So, yeah.
Okay. So, if you recall, my tinfoil hat head here, I went out on not a board, like on a pirate ship there.
Yes.
Back 6 months ago when I stood up for those boys. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and we had the officer from Ocean City, if you remember. He said, oh, whoa. But what did we see this week? That Nancy Pelosi admitted, in front why her daughter was taping her, that she made a mistake and that she should have had the National Guard, which Donald Trump wanted to release 20,000 troops into Washington, D.C.,
right.
Which she denied,
right.
Correct?
Right.
And if you noticed, the guy that put the bomb, at the D.C. committee headquarters there, they had his license plate. They knew where he was. They were tracking him. They still haven't found him, right?
Yeah.
And remember that one guy, I forget what his name is, he was saying, go this way, go this way, go this way. He never got arrested. And those doors were opened by the police. We all know that. So, one of the things that we have to think about, excuse me 1 second. I got double calls over here, John. I can't help it. I'm a busy person sometimes.
Yeah.
But with the select committee, let's get back to that, because that select committee. So if the Supreme Court is saying that we can't do that, and we can't do that, and the select committee still pulled those people in. Don't those people that got arrested, don't they have to get released right away?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the ones that didn't go in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Chief Justice John Roberts said the government must establish that a defendant impaired the availability or integrity of records, documents, or other objects used in an official proceeding. So,
well, who did that though, John?
Well, apparently,
the select committee.
Yeah,
the select committee did that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so we got now. So this may be a boomerang effect on the select committee.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, they destroyed all the information.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And we did agree that I get the 2 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
For those people, right. Okay. So, and for those that don't know, John has pushed us back until after the election. But no. Because I'm a little afraid, because what you're going to hear a lot, I think, from Bob also, is we're in such jeopardy in these next 5 months, because if ever, another country was going to invade this country or create a war, or take over Taiwan, or do something more in Ukraine, it would be under this president as he stands right now.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks,
nice show, John.
Thanks a lot for the call.
And happy
Appreciate
4th of July, everybody.
You too, Craig. Bob in Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, good morning, John. As a loyal Republican, I absolutely want Biden to stay. Do not leave office. We want you to run, Mr. President, because, it was just that cold. You're really doing a wonderful job. So, anyway, but in all seriousness, and it is serious, and look, Andy and Craig, they were correct about this. The indictment here of what we saw the other night is of the Democrat Party, the radical Democrat Party leadership and their media allies that covered up what we saw. The conservatives, the people that are not that can see the truth. We saw this 4 years ago, that there was mental impairment with this Joe Biden. We saw this, but it was covered up. It was obvious. He was fumbling and bumbling and making all sorts of mistakes. It's gotten worse. It's gotten a lot worse.
Yeah, it has.
But he was not competent enough to be the leader, the so-called leader of the free world. And again, the other callers made this point there. He's not calling the shots. But, the people of this country, they did not vote for Barack Obama's third term. They did not vote for Susan Rice and the other bureaucrats that are controlling Biden right now. So, in terms of a threat to democracy, well, we see where the threat to democracy is. Okay, we really see it. So, is Biden going to stay or go? Well, politicians have the loyalty of a dog in heat. Okay, when the down ballot effect occurs with these senators and these House politicians in the Democrat Party, when they see the devastating effect it could have on them, Joe Biden's going to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he doesn't go, it's going to be such a bloodbath, an inter-party bloodbath. That is what's going to happen. And, John, it's kind of nice to watch it, It's going to be kind of fun to watch them fight among themselves. But, we'll see what happens. You just never know what will happen. You just never know.
Yeah.
Is the media going to be successful in rehabilitating this guy? God forbid he gets another 4 years.
Oh, my God.
What are the enemies of this country going to do? What are the drug lords in Mexico going to do?
Yeah.
What what are the communist Chinese going to do? I mean,
it's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. Bob, thank you as always for the insight. Will they replace Joe Biden? Like Bob said, I hope not. I hope not. And not for nothing, but after what you saw Thursday night, can you effectively vote for Joe Biden? Those dopes like my cousin, vote for him if he had an IV in him. What, are they kidding? The guy, I mean, it's sad. And it really is sad. They shouldn't put him up. But they will. Roger in Cape May. Roger, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Thanks for taking my call, John. The FBI informant asset that was directing the January 6th protesters into the White House was named Ray Epps. He eventually was charged with the low-level misdemeanor, but I think he's suing Tucker Carlson. But there was at least 20 FBI assets steering that crowd in, and in part that's why the National Guard wasn't there. They needed an event like that to counterbalance the city's burning for month after month with the George Floyd, Antifa, BLM protests. So that was choreographed, that January 6th thing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing, you can't walk out of your house without spending money with corporations that financed Black Lives Matter, that financed Antifa. You can't walk out of your house without spending money that finances the Chinese Communist Army. That's the tripwire they're going to use to bring the girls into the Army and inoculate them with vaccines. Register them for the draft. It's Taiwan. That's the next tripwire. You're supporting the Russian army every time you buy something made in China or India or Asia, because that's all made with Russian oil. So the billionaires that really run this presidential selection process, for the most part, 90% of them don't like they like open borders. They don't like the Constitution.
Sure.
They bankroll the DNC and the RNC, and this war in Ukraine, where we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars, and Biden just hired 80,000 IRS agents. It's the equivalent of maxing out your credit card and then trying to find change in the sofa to pay it off.
Yeah,
we can't afford these. We can't afford all these wars.
No, we can't.
American people seem anxious to take this huge inflation tax, reduce their power of their Social Security checks, and at the same time send their granddaughters into conscription. It's like Seth Grossman said, American people it seems like as long as they got air conditioning and a remote control and a beer or a bomb, they don't really care what's going on.
Hey, Roger, we were up against the clock. Thanks for the call. Talk with the purpose of this show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We'll start 10 o'clock with Chris, Dan, and John, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. Hour number one in the books.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number two, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And we are also heard on 1450 AM and also online at WPGTalkRadio.com. Many ways to listen. And the number here in the studio, 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. Let's pick up where we left off. Chris in Summers Point. Chris, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hi, good morning, John. Thanks for taking my phone call.
Thanks for calling, Chris.
So I have a couple takes on the whole thing with Biden. Basically, I don't quite agree with the previous callers about them. Well, they might try to replace him. I don't think it's going to happen, because I'll tell you why. I still think Jill Biden is running the show, and I think as long as this guy is breathing, able to walk and stand up, she's not going to ever let him drop out, because they already even said Obama came to the White House and basically said, it's time to go, Joe, and she's not going to let it happen. I don't care what anyone says. She's calling the shots.
Yeah.
Whether that's right or wrong, but of course it's wrong, but I think it's going to be like Reagan and Carter in that election in 1980. I think Trump is going to win decisively. I say let him stay in. That next debate in September, John, it's not going to get any better.
No, it's not.
Say, there's another debate in September. He's not going to get better over time. This is who he is.
Yeah.
So what people don't understand is he could go to Camp David for 100 days. It's not going to change nothing. So at the end of the day, they're like, oh, well, the State of the Union speech. Yeah, the State of the Union speech, John, you and I both know, he only talked about 10% of the time. The rest of it was applause.
Yes,
and he was
that's right.
A teleprompter. He had a thing in his ear. He could read the cue cards. So, of course, in that situation, he looked, look how vibrant he looked.
Yeah.
He wasn't vibrant. It's the fact that he could read the damn teleprompter. That's all it was.
Yeah, and he fed off the applause, too. Yeah.
He fed off the applause. But he didn't, if you listen to that speech, he didn't say much of anything at all if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that's right.
as far as the debate, I mean, my takeaway is this. I mean, Trump did great. He wasn't perfect, but I think he made his points. Where he missed a few points was like he should have got in the whole thing where we have Russia has those what do you call it, the nuclear submarines off the coast of Cuba, off the coast of Florida. He didn't capitalize there, showing that what are you doing about it? In which Biden's doing nothing. And I would have definitely said that. I think he mentioned his VP choice many times. I think he mentioned Tim Scott. I think that was a red flag right there. But I think it's good. I think Tim Scott would be a good choice if he's his VP. And the only mistake I think he made was when he attacked the judge in that case that he's being sentenced on July 11th. Even though I know he doesn't care, I wouldn't have attacked him in front of 70 million people like that.
Yeah.
I think he should have stayed away from that. That's my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, probably should have. Yeah.
And then the other thing is the reason why I want Biden to lose big time is because I'm tired of these women getting like raped and murdered by these illegals, because that's only going to get worse if Biden stays in. He's already said I'm not changing course, so that has to change. Because as long as he's president, we're not going to be safe in this country. And I think you and I both know that, John. You said it many times on this show.
Yeah, right. I did, yeah.
And then, if you think militarily, I mean, we're at the weakest we've ever been. I mean, you don't have these young men and women don't want to enlist in the military because they don't trust the generals. If they saw what's in Afghanistan, they don't want any part of that because it's just not a good military right now. And at the end of the day, that's why you're not getting anybody enlisting, because you don't have good leadership in there.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a problem. You got to rebuild your military. Trump will be good at that. And then the third thing is what you and I saw Thursday night. Don't forget, John, Iran saw it, China, North Korea, Russia.
Yeah, that's right.
I checked it. They're not our friends. So that's going to be a problem too. You got to go after that. So there's just a lot of balls in the air. And I say let Biden stay in. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think he's getting out. I think you just have to have a good old-fashioned beatdown. I think Trump stays the course, just keep his momentum up, and unless some crazy asteroid hits us between now and then, I think Trump is going to win. He just has to do what he's doing, stay disciplined, and stay focused,
That's right, and we've said that all along. Thanks for the call, Chris.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, well, as a football coach used to say, let's not start smelling ourselves and counting the victory. We just got to stay the course. Just keep going. Keep the momentum going. Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome to Talk of the Purpose.
John, pleasure to talk to you. You heard this phrase before how many times? I'm going to get in trouble. And then they'll stop the press conferences and they'll do everything else behind the scenes. But my question is, Joe Biden, who are you going to get in trouble with?
Yeah.
You answer that question, you'll find out who's running our country.
Yeah.
And he said it so many times, I can't answer that. I'm going to get in trouble. Really? Then you come up with this great deal for the fishermen, where you are going to tax the fishermen, and then you're going to put a man on the boat observing the fishermen at $700 a day cost to the fishermen. That was thrown out by the Supreme Court, just to let everybody know how friendly Joe is to the fishing industry. And here's a number for you, 43.5 billion, not trillion or thousands like Joe would say, 43.5 billion internet rural connections. You know how many people have been connected to the internet since that proposal was in?
Probably none.
None.
Jeez.
But there was. I have to report progress to be fair to the Biden administration. 7.5 billion for the charging stations. The answer used to be 0, but now it's up to 7. So right now it's slightly over $1 billion a station right now.
Jeez. Oh.
This is true stuff, and the fact that we all know what's going on as far as Joe Biden with Social Security. I did this, I did that. What you did do was you taxed it, and then you voted to increase the tax, and you were the tying vote. So everybody who has Social Security and is paying taxes, just send a nice thank letter to Joe Biden and say thank you for taxing our Social Security.
Yeah.
He did it. And then if you're the African American community, just harken back to I don't want my kids going into a jungle or because of the busing. And then all of a sudden, he'll make a statement. I was brought up in a black church, and I was a leader of civil rights and everything else that goes along with that. And he supported and was a co-sponsor of the crime bill.
Yes, he was.
And that gave encouragement, and that never comes up.
No.
And I got a little suspicion. I'm sorry about the CNN situation, because it seemed that Joe was going to his ear a lot.
Yeah.
But you as a broadcaster could pull that off.
Yeah.
You could have somebody in your ear after all your years of being a broadcaster.
Because it is distracting. It is distracting, yes. But if you've done it, you can live with it. You have experience with it. You're right. Yeah.
I think it was with CNN. They basically were told, don't throw this guy a lifesaver. Take him and his hairy legs in the deep end of the pool. Let him sink, because CNN was unusually fair, and I got to give them credit. But there might have been a reason, because after you saw the panels all seem to go in lockstep, like we got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah,
it looked like a tank job to me.
Yeah, it sure did. I was surprised. I thought those two from CNN, they're gonna really hammer Trump, and they didn't. I mean,
no,
they just didn't. It was very surprising. I wonder.
I found out that to be very strange, and I'll give you this about the vice president. I will go after a lot of thought, and the guy most prepared to take over the job would probably be Ben Carson. And we have to have Doug Bergman in as Secretary of Energy. We got to straighten out the energy first, and Christine Ohm with agriculture, and all these Tom Cotton with defense, and the Attorney General's got to be someone strong. The FBI Director's got to be somebody strong. CIA Director, we have to have real good people in that position, because what they're doing now, you just see the results. They passed the thing with the legislation, or not legislation, but an executive order that allows 5,000 people a day into the country still before their protection kicks in.
Yeah.
That's over 1 million people.
That's right. That's right.
No good.
It just, I wonder when they're going to get a clue as to how to handle this. I just don't know.
When you tell your niece that the bill's going to come due, all those $400 a night rooms in New York, all the food, all the transportation, all the crime, the cost of the crime, all of this stuff, the bill is going to come due. And John and Dan and even her, she's going to have to pay the bill.
That's right. That's right. Dan, thanks a lot for the call. I wonder about that. They were, Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, they were unusually cordial. I just don't understand that, because I thought they were going to really hammer Trump, and they did not. No. John in Ocean City. John, good morning.
Yes, good morning once again. Regarding Hillary Clinton running for office, I have serious doubts about that. I remember in 2016, my mentor was Doc Marquis. First, Doc Marquis, to say something about him, he didn't appreciate my rapid-fire way of expressing myself. He wasn't crazy nuts about Alex Jones. Brother Doc Marquis was brutal. He could be very brutal. And I had said to him, I said, listen, Hillary Clinton looks like she's going to win the election. He says, don't worry about it. I said, what do you mean don't worry about it? He says, it's a good old boys club that runs a show from behind the scenes. They're not going to endorse a woman. Now, if Gavin Newsom's parachuted in at the last minute and he takes on Gretchen Whitmer as his running mate, that means nothing. That just means your vote counts. That's all, because that'll clinch the vote for Gavin Newsom. I'm more afraid of Gavin Newsom. And regarding Doc Marquis, when he was a 10-year-old kid, he sliced his arm open with an athame knife, known to witches and Satanists, dipped a pen in blood, and read his name in the book of death. That was his initiation into left-hand path witchcraft. And it is real. It's stuff that goes on from behind the scenes will come out in the open eventually. That's what the role of the Antichrist. Now, if you think that Mao Zedong was the Antichrist of the 20th century, or Adolf Hitler, or Joseph Stalin, this dude is going to make them all look like two-bit players. But that's what's coming. We have to really look at things from a spiritual point of view as well, not just from a physical point of view. And, yeah, we need to wake up and smell the coffee brewing. Thanks for letting me call in again.
Okay, thanks, John. Thanks for the call. He's doing good. John's doing real good today. He's slowing down. He's good. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We'll take Andy after the break, and then maybe we'll take you at 609-407-1450. We've got a couple of open lines, so good time for you to jump in here. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. I want to play a little game before we get to the break. And the game is, I am not John DeMasi. I'm going to be another person. And this other person is named Richard DeMasi. You notice I picked a name similar to mine. So Richard is considering, because he's really on the fence, but he's considering voting for Joe Biden. And he's leaning that way, but he has some serious concerns, and this was before the debate. He wanted to get some more information, and he goes into a bookstore, and he looks for books on Joe Biden. Now, he's already read about Donald Trump, so he's formed an opinion about that. And again, he's on the fence about who he's voting for president. But he's leaning Biden. He finds a book entitled The Biden Malaise. The author is Kimberly Strassel. She is a best-selling author, and she's on the Wall Street Journal editorial board. So pretty good credentials. Her book is about Joe Biden's dismal repeat of the Jimmy Carter years. And remember, I said that way back when. This is like Carter all over again. Just a few examples out of the book. We all know about the gas prices. They were $2.39 in 2020. $5 a gallon by June of 2022. In December 2021, Biden's economic approval rating was a minus 13. The average at this point in the presidency is plus 5. So Biden's down 18 points. In 2019, the last year before COVID, the U.S. government spent $4.4 trillion. The Biden administration, in its first 2 years, proposed or enacted spending in excess of $22 trillion. Here is Richard, our fictitious character, reading all this, and he's only on the first chapter. And he begins to think, maybe it's not a good idea to vote for Joe Biden.
Good morning,
You think? More on the life and times of this fictitious character, Richard DeMasi, later on in the show. But do you believe that? And he was only in the first chapter. And all of the negativity from Joe Biden. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, got to talk about, and we always say this is the good stuff, Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Driving a Lexus is like, to me, no other. And we have converted some people here on the show, and we've converted friends of mine. And look, we may convert you. You just got to look at the car itself. It is a absolutely outstanding car, and I have driven them since 2007, and I never did that. 2007, that's a long time. I don't remember driving another car. So, that's probably what you'll experience. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT, and online at aclexus.com. And you go to the website, and you'll check out all of the models, new, pre-owned, and the L-certified Lexus is really the top-notch automobiles when it comes to pre-owned vehicles. And really, they are handpicked by Lexus themselves. There's many, many checks and balances there, and you'll find that that is a top-notch pre-owned vehicle. So check that out as well. Check them all out, and you will find what I found. Lexus of Atlantic City, the finest automobile on the market today. Lexus of Atlantic City, aclexus.com is the website. Coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyandProsperity.com. Very few people talk about the three biggest causes of inflation. First, our federal government spends trillions more than it collects in taxes. To make up the difference, it pays people with paper money that has nothing of value to back it up. That means we need more paper dollars to buy things. However, an ounce of gold or silver usually buys the same as what it bought 50 years ago. We also have high prices because many federal, state, and local laws force businesses to waste lots of money on things that have nothing to do with health, safety, or producing their products. Finally, our government forces us to pay for expensive and mostly useless electricity from the sun and wind instead of cheap and reliable nuclear and natural gas power. Let's talk about this over breakfast. Meet us at Sal's Cafe at New Road and Groveland Avenue in Summers Point every Saturday morning at 9:30. Learn more at libertyandprosperity.com. Thanks.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Hoagland, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. If you missed any of today's show, we have our Talk with a Purpose replay Sundays 5 until 7. It's today's show tomorrow. What more could you ask for? Talk with a Purpose replay 5 to 7 every Sunday right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's get back to the phones. Andy in Brigantine is back. Andy, welcome back.
Yep. Thank you, John. Part two. Just to clarify, I never said that Joe's going to step down, and I never said that Hillary is going to be the nominee. I said if Joe steps down, if they're able to get him out, and if they replace him, that I think they're going to pick Hillary. So back to the debate. It is true, I believe, that Joe was being sabotaged. The Democrats know he can't win, and they needed a justification for removing him. You can't just pull the 25th Amendment, because the Democrats have to go along with that, and the Democrat voters would have their hides, okay? So they had to have a justification to remove Joe from the ticket. What happened the other night gave them that justification. So they sent him out there to hang himself so that there would then be a public outcry to replace this guy. And you're even getting it now from people like David Axelrod. I mean, it's insane that he's got to go. Now, about Hillary, people say, oh, everybody hates Hillary. They'll never put her in. Well, they hate Joe Biden, too.
Yeah.
If you remember, Barack Hussein Obama wouldn't even endorse Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He waited till the 11th hour, right?
Yeah.
But when Hillary ran, Barack Obama endorsed her immediately, and as a matter of fact, you recall, he said that she was the most qualified person in history to be president, even more qualified than I am, Obama said. You might remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Now, what Joe Biden was a placeholder. They needed somebody to prevent Donald Trump from winning in 2020. And they held their noses, and they elevated and nominated Joe Biden. As much as they hated him, as much of an idiot as he is, okay? Even Obama said, never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. And Robert Gates said that Joe Biden has been wrong on every national security or foreign policy decision in the past 40 years. It's now closer to 50. Okay. They will likewise hold their noses and nominate Hillary once again as a placeholder for 4 years. The woman is already 76, and she ages like a zucchini on the vine overnight. Nobody wants to see her in 4 years, and she'll be 81 then.
That's right.
She'll be too old to run again.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump can't run again.
That's right.
So they'll put Hillary in as a placeholder for 4 years until such time as they can build their bench. They keep talking about Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. People like you and I and the people who listen to this show, we know who Gavin Newsom is and we know who Gretchen Whitmer is.
Yeah.
But 95% of the population has no idea who either of these people is. They have no name recognition. They have no track record, no history with the public across the country. They're known by only the people who follow this stuff, the nerds
Right.
and the dweebs and the dorks like you and I.
Right.
Hillary is a known commodity. She's already debated Trump. She's already run. And remember now, just recently, within the past couple of weeks, we saw that Hillary and Barack Obama were working together to, quote, help Joe Biden. I believe that Hillary and Obama worked together to hurt Joe Biden so that then Barack would be the big catalyst to get Hillary back on the national stage and to push her. Because Hillary, while she would not be as malleable or as controllable as Joe Biden is, because she does have her faculties, Hillary doesn't care. Hillary just wants the title of being president.
That's right.
It's been her life's dream to be the president. So she'll go in and she'll just do what she's told to do, but she'll have the office, which is all she's ever wanted. And to Bob's point from Cape May, the media, the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, all of these people who defended Joe Biden, who explained away every brain fart, who tried to tell us for 3.5 years that what we are seeing, we haven't seen. Just like Alejandro Mayorkas telling us the border is secure when we can clearly see that it's not. These people who've been propping up Joe Biden and explaining away all of his issues, okay, are complicit. They have brought this upon the country, this feeble, demented, senile, fossil cadaver in chief. They brought this upon the country, and they really should suffer the dire consequences of losing all the senators and losing all the House members. They should be destroyed for a generation, the Democrat Party, for what they've done, and it'll be a great day when that happens. You know, Donald Trump the other night, he reminded me, if you're a Honeymooners fan, you might remember the episode where Ralph was telling Alice about how the mother-in-law was always trashing him. And he said, I don't even have to say a word, Alice. She won't be in this house 30 seconds before she starts right in on me. And Ralph set the alarm clock, and he sat it on the kitchen table, and he sat down, and the mother-in-law came in and immediately started trashing him. And you saw the facial machinations that he was making.
Yeah,
he was just busting, but he didn't say a word. And then the alarm clock rang, and he said, "You are a blabbermouth."
I remember that. I remember that. Yes, I remember
and
that.
that's how Donald Trump looked the other night.
Yeah.
Now, Donald Trump, while there were a few things that he could have brought up that he didn't, I thought he composed himself brilliantly.
So did I,
He stood there and he let, there's an expression, never interrupt your enemy when he's in the process of committing suicide.
Yes.
Donald Trump stood there and he let Joe Biden hang himself, and so did Dana Bash and Jake Tapper and CNN. I'm telling you, they got the memo from the DNC that morning. Do not help this man. They had to let him hang himself to give them the justification for pulling the 25th Amendment. I don't think they're going to do it. I hope they don't. But let's pray.
I hope not either. Thanks for the call, Andy. Appreciate it. All good stuff. Jane is in Ocean City. Jane, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. I don't call talk radio very often, but I did watch the whole debate. And one thing was very interesting about Gavin Newsom is that there was a feed prior to the debate that was obviously outside of where the debate was taking place. And there was Gavin Newsom, and there were about a dozen reporters there with their little microphones fawning all over this guy, talking to him, getting quotes. It was unbelievable how they were gravitating to this. I don't know how many people actually saw this, but I wouldn't rule him out. I don't like him. I think he's got a lot of flaws. I wouldn't rule him out. As far as Biden goes, I remember when Reagan got the Alzheimer diagnosis, and he wrote what was called the long goodbye, or his goodbye to America letter.
Yes, yeah, I remember.
After that, Nancy Reagan, whether you liked her or hated her, she protected him. She did not allow him to be seen in a state of debility,
right?
Because she understood what it meant to be loyal to your husband, to love and honor and cherish. And the way that Jill Biden is pushing him out there is telling me that the person you have to get out of the way is not Joe, but it's Jill, because she will prop him up like Weekend at Bernie's. She will not let go unless you make her an offer she can't refuse. And as far as Kamala Harris goes, I think the offer you have to make her is the Supreme Court. If you make her that offer, she will step aside. She will say, okay, I won't run. I won't, try to move from vice president to president. I will step aside, and then they will devote their full efforts to doing whatever they have to do to win the election, just like they did whatever they had to do in 2020. Because they have no morals, they have no ethics, they have no faith, they have nothing, they understand nothing but power. That's all they want.
Yeah, Jill Biden, this says everything about her, I think.
Yeah,
you said it best. I mean, Nancy Reagan protected Ronald Reagan, and Jill Biden, she's just propping him up, and she'll put him out there if he's a cadaver. I mean, she doesn't care. She wants to be the first lady. It's all there's to it.
And it's power. You look at Joe Biden. I'm a big believer in term limits for everything, every office. I believe in term limits.
Yeah.
And executive offices do have them in a lot of, the president, a lot of mayor elections, a lot of governors. But this is what happens when you allow somebody to enter public office at age 27 and to spend the next 50 years of his life grifting off the American public.
Yep.
Joe Biden's got 4 houses. I don't have 4 houses. Do you have? You don't
no,
have 4 houses.
I don't have 4 houses, no.
Bernie Sanders has 4 houses. Nancy Pelosi's got a couple houses. Their Governor Murphy's got a villa in Italy. We don't have that. Why do people who are paid on our dime have more than we? They're supposed to be public servants. We're supposed to be the employers. And somehow we're looking around saying, why can't I afford my rent? Why does he have a beachside villa? It's amazing. But I think to some degree we have to stand up and take responsibility for allowing somebody to have a career in public service, which was never meant to be a career.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for the call, Jane. Good stuff. Linda in Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, hi.
Hi.
Good show.
Thank you.
So Nancy Pelosi has $200 million. My husband has made more money than Nancy Pelosi what did she make? Probably $100,000 a year, maybe $165,000 a year.
Maybe.
She ends up with a huge fortune at the end of her career, $200 million. Who can do that?
Unless you're a politician, nobody.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
And so I have to say, 2016, I loved that presidential debate. I loved everything about the 2016 presidential debate. And, of course, my second one is the one that we just saw. I loved that debate. I thought the owner of CNN was very prudent, very wise, because I don't think it was so much Dana Bash and Jake Tapper that controlled themselves as I think they were controlled by the owner of the station. That was really well done.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was really well done. And so kudos to CNN. And but even Trump, they like he had a minute. When I first saw that minutes were being allowed, you could have a minute for this, 2 minutes for that, but most of them were you can only have 1 minute. And so Trump looked puzzled, and so Tapper says, well, you can take that 1 minute, and because Trump wanted to comment on something that Biden said, and it looked like he would never get a chance to. But Tapper said, oh no, you can take your 1 minute and just extend it.
Yeah.
So we saw President Trump do it, and then, like it was pointed out, Dana Bash called him president. Jake Tapper, I believe.
Yeah,
maybe
that's right. They did.
That was great. And so then the one question, I don't even think it was ever answered. The question that always gets, where they would hang someone if they answered it wrong. If it was a Republican, if whoever wins, the primary or something, would you stand by them when they, would you support them when they run for president? And everybody signs, yes, I will, yes, I will, yes, I will. And so Trump, of course, that question, that was put to him bigly. And I don't think he actually got around to answering it, but it reminded me of the time in 2016. You know who was asked that who was asked that question? You had John Kasich, who said yes, he would support whoever won the primary.
Yeah.
And you had Jeb Bush, who said he would support whoever won the primary. So Trump wins the primary, but Jeb Bush didn't support him.
No,
and
not at
John
all.
Kasich didn't support him.
No.
And politics is so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hillary is complicit in high crimes and misdemeanors. Just as far as in my mind, someone who when we saw what happened to President Trump in the beginning. I mean, what else can you call something like that? That whole thing in the beginning was high crimes and misdemeanors, trying to get President Trump out of office in the beginning, with the phony dossier and everything else that was done against him. That was horrible. And but hey, look, that with I can see how Andy could think that would mean nothing to a Democrat, and maybe it would mean something to a few Democrats. So I don't know.
Well, Linda, as always, thanks for the call. We appreciate it, and good stuff. Good stuff. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Again, 609-407-1450. After the break, Chuck, Bob, Tom, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. We're back after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and Party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, ServPro Team Fabiani, the Atlantic County Utilities Authority, Adams, Raymond, and Hagen in the community, Roy Silverstein, Atlantic Blueberry, and Brown & McCarthy Insurance. Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. A high rip current risk in effect through this evening. For this afternoon, humid with times of clouds and sunshine, high up to 82. Cloudy, very warm and humid tonight with a couple of heavy thunderstorms, especially late, so watch out for flooding, low 76. Variably cloudy tomorrow, warmer, very humid with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, high 92. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. If you would like to listen to any of our shows at any time, we have what we call on demand. You Google John DeMasi podcasts and all of the shows come up. There's like 230 shows. A lot of shows. Did I do that many? I don't remember. You Google that, John DeMasi podcasts, and you can listen to any of the shows at any time. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We have Chuck and Absec. And Chuck, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John. Great show as usual.
Thank you, sir.
The callers on your show are phenomenal. I learn a lot. I hope your listeners learn a lot from everybody that calls in.
I learn a lot.
Yeah. I mean, people are bringing information to the table. It's great. You mentioned Tapper and Dana Bash being on their best behavior. There's a reason for that. If you remember, Caroline Leavitt was in there a day or two earlier, and they kicked her off the set. So they caught hell for that, and they were under the microscope at the same time because that happened. Caroline Leavitt's a spokesperson for Trump, and, she wanted to bring up the points that Dana Bash and Jake Tapper were, calling Trump Hitler and, things that they've said in the past. And the tapes are out there. They were brutal.
Yeah.
And so they were under the microscope, so they had to watch it.
Yeah.
One of the great things that I took from the debate was when Trump said, I'm the only president out of the last four that Putin didn't invade anything when he was in there, because under Bush, I think they invaded Georgia. Putin invaded Georgia. Under Obama, I believe it was Crimea. And now under Biden, it's the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Where Putin has advanced. And he didn't do it with Trump. And yet Trump's called the Russian asset, Russia. And isn't it amazing how the Democrats and the media twist things?
Yeah, they're specialists at that.
Oh yeah, and who's in charge of the media? Who's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash and CNN? What are they, John?
Democrats.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. But John, listen. I'm looking for Trump to win this, and when he gets in there, we're all about equal justice, right?
Yes.
So the ones that have all these bogus charges that they've drummed up on Trump. Steve Bannon came out the other day, and he's naming names about people that need to be prosecuted for what they did falsely accusing Donald Trump and prosecuting him, they need to pay for this. And, you know, we talk about an unequal justice system. Well, I'm all about equal justice. These people need to pay. And, you know, John, if you want to look at the 10 Commandments, I believe thou shalt not bear false witness. I mean, there's a reason it's one of the 10 Commandments.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
And you know, John, it's a commandment. It's not a proposal or a maybe. They're named the 10 Commandments for a reason. Because if you live by them, you actually have a moral compass in your body. Okay? Which I think is lacking out there, and especially on the Democrat side.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Because anything goes for that party. I mean, they're
that's
just
right. That's
so
right.
destructive.
Yeah.
But you look at the way that they're railroading Bannon, they railroaded Manafort, Peter Navarro, they shackled him up at the airport and perp walked him. And you know, Bannon came out and named names. He named Lisa Monaco. He mentioned Jack Smith. You know, that these people need to pay. They need to be spanked, John.
Yeah,
I really do. You know, you just can't let this go, what they tried to do to Trump and what they've done to his inner circle. I mean, I'm not about vengeance and retribution. I'm just for fairness. And that, to me, is fair.
That's right. No,
and John, one more thing. You know, since they want to make such a big deal out of Trump being a convicted felon, what the hell was George Floyd? My God, they made him a saint. He's a convicted felon that holds a gun to a pregnant woman's belly.
Yeah.
Right? And they tear down statues and put up statues of George Floyd.
Yeah.
So they like that convicted felon.
Yeah.
Right? So what's the problem with Trump?
Hey, your road to getting a statue. Just hold a gun to a pregnant woman's belly.
Putting up statues of Trump now, right?
Yeah. Chuck, thanks for the call.
Enough, John.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day,
You too.
man. Always a pleasure.
You too. Oh, think about that. A statue for George Floyd. Oh, he's a criminal. He was a criminal. He's no longer anything. He was a criminal. I just don't understand it. 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Bob is back. Bob and Cape May. Welcome back, Bob.
Hey, John. You know, Jill Biden, you know, it's really criminal what she's doing. Okay. There's no way she should have let her husband run again.
No.
And you see, a good wife, a decent wife, wouldn't do that. Now, I have a rental property in Rehoboth Beach. We spend a couple months a year there. Okay, so this is not coming out of left field, John. But we have it on a really good source. You know, that Jill is also not only, you know, is she a wife that really doesn't care about her husband, but you know, she's not faithful to her husband. Okay, we have that on a very good source. Of course, I can't say what the source is, but it is a very good source. So add that to the mix there. But it's hard to have sympathy for Biden because, you know, he came off, especially last night, but that's just his nature. The Democrats and his apologists all claim he's a good man. Well, boy, a good man would not let his drug-addicted son engage in criminal activity for him, be his bag man for decades. Wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that to your son.
No.
You wouldn't have this dysfunction in the family. His daughter, it's all sorts of problems if you given the reports about her diary. And in that debate, he came off as the angry, mean old man. He did.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And, you know, he hit below. He's the guy that started hitting below the belt. And Trump, to his credit, was really pretty much composed. There were a few instances where, you know, the fuse was going to get lit, but he was pretty composed. And, you know, Biden hit him with, well, you had sex with a porn star and you've got the morals of an alley cat. And Trump didn't blow his top. And, you know, look, response could have been, and maybe it should have been, that, all right, look, Biden, in your daughter's diary, she reports that you showered with her.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. All right. So, anyway, but, this is what we're dealing with. Hey, look, real quick, you asked the question I don't think anybody answered about the prospective voter that may be leaning toward Biden, but he's just not quite sure,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So, look, prospective voter, you do not have to personally like Donald Trump. You really do not. There may be some things about his personality that really turn you off. But what is really good for the country and what is good for your personal situation? Are lower gas prices good for you? Are a low inflation rate of 1.4% versus going up to 9%, is that good for you? Is controlling crime, especially in our big cities, is that good for you versus what we have now? Opening up the oil fields, the drilling, and making our economy go like it did for the first 3 years of Trump, is that better for you? So again, it's the Trump policies I want you to focus on versus what the Biden policies are and how that's affected your daily life, your family's
That's
life.
right. That's right.
And final point, prospective voter, and this is empirical data that the Democrats can't argue. Okay, they're going to tell you that Trump and Republicans only care about the rich. But the truth is, in 16 years of Bush and Obama, real family income only went up about $2,000. In the first 3 years of Trump, it went up $4,000. That is empirical data. That is absolutely the case.
That's right. That's right.
So
yeah.
Vote your own interest. Vote your interest.
That's
your
right.
Interest is with Trump.
And nobody's, the Democrats and like my cousin, they're all alike. He's horrible. He's a dictator. No, he did well for us. That's what we should focus on.
Right.
That's right.
That's what counts.
That's right.
Who cares if he uses vulgarity? Who cares?
That's right.
Who cares if he liked and probably still likes beautiful women? I don't think that's absolutely a vice, is it?
No. I do too. I do too, okay? Oh, thanks for the call, Bob. Right. Appreciate it. Tom in Pleasantville. Tom, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. Heard something on the 5, which is on at Fox at 5 o'clock every weekday. It was Judge Janine who brought this point up. There's another reason why Biden will not tap out, because of the donations, the contributions to the Biden-Harris campaign. There's tons of money in there. If Biden drops out and, say, Newsom steps in, he's not able to touch any of that money.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
They got to keep him there. Now, Kamala can tap into that, but I don't know if they're going to want to put her forward either. But there's a lot of money on the table. If Biden steps out, nobody gets that money. If Biden stays, they need it for all the commercials, the campaign stuff. So there's a money aspect to this on why Biden is not stepping down.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, and thanks for sharing that with us, Tom. Let's squeeze in Sarah. Sarah, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. I hope you're well.
You too, Sarah.
Yes, I just wanted to make a clarification for Linda. Donald Trump said that he would support if the election is fair on the last time.
Yes.
That was his response. But he was cut off when Joe Biden had said that you're a whiner, you whine all the time. But if I was Trump, if I had the time, if I were allowed to, I would have said, I'm whining because the people cannot afford homes. I would have said, I'm whining because Afghanistan was left a mess. I'm whining because people are crying when they go to the grocery stores. I'm whining because we are not in a good place where people loot and burn down places and go out to stores with armful of groceries with no consequences. I'm whining because the border is a crisis. Why would we need to have more criminals when we have our own criminals?
Yeah.
For example, the guy that killed Polly Klaas, he's been on death row since 1996, and we're still keeping him alive.
Yeah.
So why would we need more criminals? You know, I'm whining because I'm treated worse than diligent. You know, people talk about the Bible and so forth. We need to bring that back to schools. And some say, oh, well, this is a country where we should have free religion. Do you honestly think that you could go to places such as Bangladesh, Oman, Jordan, Algeria, Afghanistan, and start saying, I'm going to teach Christianity in their schools?
No way.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. It is. It really is.
That's why I'm whining. I would have been able to, if I was Trump, that's what I would be saying. That's why I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
It's unreal. I mean, they're treating him, and I saw the other side. I was on the other side, and I believed the lies. I believed the lies that he told. And if anyone out there that believes Biden, tell me why. Because I see at the grocery stores, I see people's faces frown, people cutting back.
Yeah.
It's not the same as it used to be. Even, you know, they talk about the January 6th. What about Antifa and Black Lives Matters and the looting and the robbery and all those things? Where are the trials for them?
That's right.
Black lives don't matter when you're black in Philadelphia, because it is the truth that more people that are black are being killed by their own brother on the street than police officers.
That is right.
Yes,
that is
those
right.
Officers were over or heavy-handed, but I'm more worried about the common criminal on the street that will kill you. You know, we pay so
Sarah,
much.
thanks a lot for the call. We're up against the clock. Good stuff. Lively hour. Hour number 2 in the books. Hour number 3 on the way. John Runfellow speaking on the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival. He'll be coming up in just a moment. Hour number 3 on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, 609-407-1450. We'll get to the calls in just a moment, but first we're going to take a few minutes to tell you about what's happening tomorrow here in the area. It is the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival in Hamilton, and it is a fabulous event. And here to talk about it is the one and only from Hamilton, John Runfellow. John, good morning. Welcome.
Thanks, JD. Everything's set and ready to go. We just need that young lady named O'Brien to check that forecast for us.
Well, you ordered a nice day, right?
Well, that variably cloudy part I like. The chance of thunderstorms I don't, but otherwise, that's cool.
What is this festival all about? First of all, could you tell us how this thing got started? I mean,
well, it got started in '87. The county celebrating their sesquicentennial, and they told all the chambers, all the towns, hey, you want to celebrate the sesquicentennial with us, around the July 4th time frame. And at that time, the chamber said, what can we do? And I just came up with Bob and I, my former partner, Bob Fry, we batted around the office and said, what about red, white, and blue? All the things surrounding July 4th and Independence Day and whatever. And we just hit it with Red, White, and Blueberry Festival. And because of course, the fact that the Hamilton moniker, Hamilton Blueberry Capital of the World, has been bannered around, but never cemented. But it was always called that. But, we put it on the billboards. And eventually we said, why don't we do that? The chamber said, that's a good idea. And from then, 3 people were involved, myself, besides the chamber and all the trustees. But the 3 people who were the coordinators were Claire Conde, who took care of the food, Ann Llewellyn, who took care of all the crafters, and I took care of all the advertising and entertainment. Of course, entertainment was a school group called Jay Walker and the Pedestrians, and we had a flatbed truck for a stage, and we had I think we had 4 food vendors and maybe 15 crafters, and we did it what now is the grounds of the St. Joe Academy, and we had a moderate success. I don't know, maybe 1,000, couple thousand people. And it just kept on growing. Then the fact that the blueberries became very popular, very healthy fruit. Later on, the blueberry became the state fruit of New Jersey. And of course, blueberry always has a history here in Hamilton with many, many blueberry farms. And again, we took the moniker of blueberry capital of the world, and people say how. And if you go into statistics, as they always lie, statistics do. But per capita, per square mile, the number of farms we had, we can lay claim to that. There are other places, I think one in Maine, that says they're the blueberry capital of the world. But again, we also do mostly fresh blueberries. A lot of farms in other areas of the country do blueberries for production into jams and jellies and whatever. So we were proud of that fact. And again, that's how it started. It just grew. We went from what was the middle school of Hamilton. We went from there to the field hockey field of Hamilton High, and then we moved it to the grounds of Hamilton High School, and it's just grown tremendously. We've had promotions put on TV from ESPN. We had Carmen Sincotti from Mays Landing, who was one of the people on the hot dog eating stand at Nathan's Hot Dogs on July 4th a couple of years. And we've had, the Cake Boss from the Food Network. And again, but basically it's the blueberry that brings everybody in. It's just, we have fresh picked blueberries that day or the night before, the day before. It can't be any fresher. Picked up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we have a blueberry stuff of all kinds, Our signature is from the Nino's Cannoli Express, the freshly made blueberry cannoli. And you can see them making them, filling them up right there. So that's our signature. But again, we have 20 food vendors, 70 crafters, Steely Savannah and Mickey G. We have a great, a band and a DJ, and all the civic groups are involved. And, it's just a great day. Some kiddie rides for the kids. As I always say, John, you can come here and spend $0, but I dare you to.
Yeah, well, I have done that. Spent a few dollars.
You mean spend $0?
No, I spent a few dollars. Believe me, I bought 2 balloons. My grandson was little and he broke one, so I bought another one. What can I tell you? Yeah. But is it a good idea for people to get there early? Because I know you run out.
Oh yeah. Again, we are not retailers, so we take a good guess, an educated guess of how much we need. We usually have 7 pallets full, which comes out to over 1 million blueberries in every shape and form. But the fresh blueberries are, in pints. And, we have the cannoli and this blueberry crisp. The Sir Optimus put that on. The Kiwanis pancake breakfast from 8 to noon. So, yeah, coming in early is always good. The kiddie rides don't start till 10 if you're bringing your grandchildren or whatever, your kids along. And they are kiddie rides. They're rides for from infancy up to, about 10 years old. Kids love them. And all the civic groups get behind it and are there. The Mount Carmel Festival, Mount Carmel people, the society do a great job in helping us set it up also. And couldn't not do it without them because they let us borrow the tables and tables from their society and also the stage and help us put it up. But the Car Club, the Cruising Classics car show is over 200 cars. We can't. Our sponsor, AMI Atlantic Care, has been with us for years. We have a great group of supporting sponsors, NJM, Archer Law, Rothman Institute, and Rothman Orthopedics, rather. and Serve Pro, Team Fabiani, who do the majority of the sponsorship, but then also we have 20 associate sponsors. So it's well supported by the business community, the civic community, the town of Hamilton, the Board of Education. It's a town thing, and we're very proud of it. It's a family show. You bring mom, bring dad, bring grandma, bring the grandkids. It's a great day.
Let's talk about the food for a minute. What kinds of food are there?
Well, we have Mexican food, Italian food. We have regular old carnival food, hot dogs and hamburgers and whatever. Some great sausage and peppers for the Italian groups, obviously from our heritage here in Hamilton. And again, the Tex-Mex there with a huge display of fantastic Mexican food. So we cover all grounds. We got blueberry ice cream, blueberry lemonade, blueberry scones. So, you can get it in any shape and form. And again, we hope the weather, cooperates. It looks promising, but there's going to be a possible shower here and there. But last year we made it through, and we're very, very happy that we will do it again. And all set up. You want to ride through just to see the skeleton of it. It's all there, all the tents and everything's there. We just need people and the vendors. Right now, the volunteers are hard at work, and we had our friends from National Honor Society at Hampton High, and they were helping us put the things together. Again, our army of volunteers from the business community and our own trustees are here.
Heather DeLuca is with us today. She's running things for us, and she wants to know: are there rides? Because obviously she's a little kid.
Well, as I said, they are indeed kiddie rides. For up to, I guess, 10 years old or whatever.
Okay.
Mini carousel, a mini whip, and a mini merry-go-round, and the kids love it. Again, it's those kind of rides. It's not a giant carousel or a big whip where you can go to the chiropractor tomorrow. It goes about 2 miles an hour, But for the kids, they think it's 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's an economy of scale. You know how it works.
Yeah.
if you're 5, it's really fast.
Yeah. What kind of attendance are you expecting?
Well, it's not me, but it's the Department of Homeland Security and our home police department who have to bring in estimates of any time. That I believe the watermark is about 1,000 people. Anytime you have an aggregation of that number, I believe you have to report it to the Department of Homeland Security. So Chief Friel has been our liaison, and he has given us a report that we send to the state of upwards of 10,000 people floating throughout the day. Again, at any point in time, there's usually 1,500 or 2,000 people floating around, and we have 2 giant tents which fit about probably 500 people underneath them. So, we do have protection from the sun, but that's the estimate from the police department. And again, not 10,000 at one time, obviously, but floating through approximately 10,000 people.
Free admission and free parking, right?
Yes, follow signs to free festival parking, as it says in the commercial. There are places that, of course, if you go to anywhere, there might be a singular person who might charge you to be on their lawn, but again, this is free press, and the jitneys too.
I like that. I really like that because I can't walk a lot. Yeah,
yeah. You can get close to the area by parking in the elementary school parking lot, but that fills up quickly, and from there you can get a jitney. Then, if you're in a handicapped situation, you can get right up to the handicapped area, which is probably about half a mile. I'm not good at the distances of that. But, then the jitneys are right there. But if you do have to park in the remote areas, which is the middle school and the further part of the elementary school, we'll have the jitneys out there at the middle school. And they're full every minute of every day. So they're talking about 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock we have them on. They're packed all the time. And again, we do have the handicapped area, which gets you pretty close, and there's a jitney stop right there. So and there's car show, band, food, fun, and again it's a family situation.
Yeah, sounds good. It really sounds entertaining, which it is, and the pancake breakfast starts it off 8 to noon, and then you just kind of meander around and eat blueberries.
We say, we say 10 to 4, but, as soon as everything's set up, everyone's set up, our volunteers really do a great job in setting everyone up by probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Everything is set and ready to go. So we say 10 o'clock just to be, sure. But, people start coming in at, 9 o'clock and flow through it. Come in and, buy a T-shirt, buy some blueberries, have something to eat. If you hang around too long, you can have breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Well, we wish you success again. John Runfellow, the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival tomorrow in Hamilton at Hamilton High School. Free admission, free parking, and rides for the kids and all kinds of good stuff, all kinds of food. It's just a fun event. John, as always, we look forward to you coming on here once a year and talking about it. And we thank you for coming on. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. WF. No, that's the other station. WPG.
WPG. Well, I heard Ed Davis give me a promo the other day, so I got to give him a pop,
Okay, sure. All right. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. We hope you're going to visit tomorrow in Hamilton. It's the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival. We are going to get back to more of your calls, 609-407-1450, and more Talk with a Purpose. Got a couple of things to mention to you about the offshore wind farms and so forth. And we'll talk about the debate still. 609-407-1450, our number here in the studio. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose after these words.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and Party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruisin' Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Surf Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Hoagland, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. Got a couple of open lines, so you want to jump in before we leave you at 12 o'clock today. 609-407-1450. Before I get back to the calls, I wanted to pass this on to you. The Atlantic Shores Offshore Wind Project is moving forward. There was a hearing the other day, and according to a spokesperson, post-construction of the field will be restored and can be used as it is today. The company proposes to install 157 wind turbines about 10 miles off the coast. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management says its closest point is 8.7 miles off of Brigantine. Gee, I'm sure glad about that. Still need to get approval to run cables underground and such, but it looks like for now it's a go, barring any unforeseen circumstances. But again, with the cables and underground, and they got to dig and so on and so forth. There need to be multiple approvals. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see. But it's still, it's on the table. And some of the politicians, it's a good thing for Atlantic City. It's good. Good thing. When it starts killing the fish, it's not a good thing. Yep. Kevin and EHT. Kevin, good morning. You're on Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. I'm sorry I'm late getting into your show today. I didn't hear too much earlier. But,
That's all right. That's all right. Better late than never.
Yes. I just wanted to touch on something I saw. I was flipping around on TV this morning, and I believe it was on CNN, and they were showing a clip of the debate the other night that was broadcast to in Spanish. So it would be to the Hispanic people. And it was just a person speaking at normal rate. So there was no stammering heard or no, humana, losing train of thought or anything. It was just flat out exactly what he said, like they were reading it off a script. And boy, that's very,
wow. They don't get the stuttering. They don't get the stuttering I mean, because a lot of times he closed his eyes and he was like you could see he was thinking and fishing for the words,
Yes.
And the translation doesn't get that, huh?
Right. And I didn't know if you had heard that or anything.
No, I didn't. No.
I'm sure it'll be shown again, but it was very, when you think about it, for those who are watching that could say, boy, he did wonderfully. But this was all broadcast. It was translated, so there was none of that shown. And if you were just watched him, you kind of would have seen it in his eyes. But if you're listening, you would not have.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Happy 4th to you and everyone watching or listening. And take care, John.
Yeah, happy 4th. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for the call. John in Ocean City. John, welcome back.
Yes, good morning. Sure, the wind farms are going to do a lot of good. They're going to put money in the pockets of a lot of politicians is what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Now, just think about this now. You have Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, BRICS. They now have 15 countries added to BRICS, and also understand that it's already been stated here that China is opening up 2 coal factories a month, everywhere over the world. They're making inroads into sub-Saharan Africa. Also, Russia is drilling more and more for natural gas and crude. There's more natural gas and crude from the Leviathan vein off the coast of Israel into the mainland of Russia. They're not going to go green anytime soon. Now, we're expected to lead the charge in green energy. That means we have to manufacture. We have to be the manufacturers. We're not. We're getting all this stuff. We're getting the wind farms, the wind turbines from China. The solar panels are being built in China or Indonesia or anywhere else, mainly China. So for us to lead the charge in green energy, we have to become the manufacturers, and we're not. Our manufacturing has been outsourced. So just use common sense. We're not going to go green. Our country's going to be destroyed by all this in the end. Also, my friend who doesn't even watch this program, listen to this program rather, he said Hillary Clinton's going to be is going to take Joe Biden's place, and I said I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom, and he said Gavin Newsom screwed things up in California too bad. And my reply was, well, never estimate a Democrat's ability to air things up, But he said that Biden, there's no way they're stuck with Biden unless his wife tells him to back out. It says, well, I said, yeah, she runs the show after all is said and done, and she's something else, man. I've heard a lot of bad stuff about that woman.
Yeah,
a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as who is going to be President Trump's running mate, we don't know, and we can't tell what the future is. Unfortunately, I feel like a mouse in a snake aquarium at this point. I don't like that feeling. But as long as we have a First Amendment right to speak in to this program, we need to keep calling in. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Tony in Atlantic City. Tony, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, thanks for taking my call. I'm working at Boardwalk, and a couple of weeks ago, I invested in the oil and transportation industry with a company called Energy Transfer, and they just purchased West Texas Gas, and they make their money by transporting through the pipelines natural gas and oil. So when I hear about a wind farm, it doesn't make me too happy.
No.
Especially since Yeah, you would think. Especially since that we have the pine barrens a few miles from here.
Yeah.
Just a vast acreage, right, where the pine trees grow. It would amaze me. They all grow to the same height.
Yeah.
You know, when I drive up and down the expressway, trees grow to the same height. It's amazing. You don't get 200 feet. They're all like 65 or whatever. It's like they all grow to the same. So I think I've spoken to this before. To plant like the windmills we have here in Atlantic City, that height, right, would tower just a little bit above the pine trees. And it's just stuck into the ground of the coast. And the wiring underground or through tubes is not going to kill any fish or kill anything else. It's not going to be easy to maintain. And there's also a grid out there, an electrical grid already, that they could probably hook up to or build a power station cheap enough. And the lunacy of putting the extra number of windmills out in the ocean, to me, is beyond belief. It's so stupid. I can't think of anything else that could be worse.
Yeah.
I'm about out of words.
Yeah. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call, Tony. 157 wind turbines about 10 miles off the coast. I don't know. Okay, so he said they're covered. They won't kill the fish. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. It's just too many things that we don't know that make you question this kind of a thing. 609-407-1450. Jim is in Eaglewood. Jim, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, John. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling, Jim.
Chris Colin's voice is a little different this morning.
Yeah.
I got it. It's great.
No, he didn't have the change. No. So don't start that rumor, okay?
Please don't go there.
You know, today you never know, you know?
No, trust me, you do never know. You're right. And while that could take a whole segment of your show, here's why I called. It's not as if I don't think whales matter or fish matter or the fishing industry or the unsightliness of it all. Yeah. The fact is the cost-benefit ratio doesn't exist.
No.
They don't work.
No.
They just don't work. The entire thing is bizarre, but if you stack it on top of all the other bizarreness, and you alluded to one 2 seconds ago, you know, transgenderism doesn't exist. It's a made-up construct of the mind. We're so stacked up with things in our culture today that aren't real. They're just not real. I would suggest to everyone, I do not have the background, the educational background for this, but I knew it empirically from the beginning. They don't work. If you want to know how, you all have smartphones. There's a local paper by me called The Sandpaper.
Yeah.
In this week's coverage, there's a gentleman by the name of Edgar Gunter who does a piece in the paper. He's an engineer, an electrical engineer, a physical engineer. This guy's been dealing with wind turbines for 30 years of his life. Just read the article. It explains it in a way I can't because, again, I don't have the educational background. But common empirical sense tells you they don't work, period. End of conversation. It's a money grab. And not only for Orsted and a whole bunch of politicians. One of them might be the governor of the state of New Jersey. I don't know. I'm just saying that. But it's a money grab for the electric companies. Your bills are going to triple when they put this stuff in. Triple,
yeah.
If not more. Yeah. So it's just not worth it. It's not financially worth it.
I question it. Jim, thanks for the call. I question it too. Because there's just too many things that are iffy, you know? I mean, 157 of these things? Okay, so let's say they all work all the time, which may not happen. Okay, so you got to get out there and you got to repair them. Okay, what's that going to cost? to take a boat 10 miles off the coast. I just don't know what to say about it, except that it's too iffy. It's too iffy. 609-407-1450. We have a rare moment in the show where we have an open line or two, so if you want to jump in here and get into the foray of the debate or anything else, 609-407-1450. I just wanted to mention this Atlantic City politician. His name is Mohammed Zia. He is sitting on Atlantic City Council, and the rule is you got to live in Atlantic City. That's as simple as that. So there was he's fighting a challenge to his residency. He was handcuffed and escorted out of the civil trial last week after being charged with threatening a witness testifying against him. 3 people allege that Mohammed Zia had threatened to assault a witness in the civil trial on June 19th. He specifically came very close to one witness face to face, and he stated, "Don't F with me. I will F you up." Are you kidding? He was released on a summons. He's scheduled for an appearance in court July 17th. Just resign, okay? Resign. Plain and simple. You live in Egg Harbor Township. You're supposedly you're separated from your wife. She lives there. Well, where do you live? And if the requirement is that you have to live in Atlantic City and you're a councilman, live in Atlantic City. And if you don't, resign. Simple. What all this stuff about courts and... You know, we got enough problems without this. Linda is back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, I'm back. And what we want to know, and I don't understand the problem. Either that or I'm slow. Well, what we want to know is what is the cost per kilowatt hour going to be?
That's a good question.
Well, don't you think someone would have asked it? Maybe that's why Europe doesn't do wind farms anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
So right now, what is the cost per kilowatt? Is and well, now we know Atlantic City wants windmills. We know our politicians, they feel that, oh well, everybody has to be on board with this, or else it's not going to work, or something like that. But politicians, have you heard one of them say what the cost per kilowatt's going to be? So right now, what is it about? Maybe 20 cents. I stand to be corrected, in and around that amount. If it is, what do you think it's going to be when and if they ever get these things up? You're talking about 40 cents?
Maybe.
You could be talking about more.
Yeah.
So before we sign on the dotted line, ought we not to... I mean, is this hard? When a politician makes a deal with a city, don't they know what the money and the cost is going to be? In fact, they go as far... They want to know so badly, they go as far as putting bids out on it. But we don't know anything. We can't get one question asked. How much what's the cost per kilowatt?
Stop and think about this, Linda. Maybe they don't want us to know.
Well, then you don't do it.
Well, logically...
And if it's a politician who wants it, vote him out of office.
Right. That's right.
Right?
And they're throwing money at the politicians. That's what can I tell you?
I mean, we give blank checks to whom? For what?
Gee, It's really incredible. No, they don't want us to know. And, I just got to hope that there's got to be more approvals for digging and all that stuff. I hope that...
It's wrong.
I think so, too.
Doesn't your brain scream?
Yeah.
This is wrong. And if you thought a little harder, you might think back, geez, didn't they stop doing this in Europe? Maybe that's why they're over here in America.
Yeah.
In fact, our government, our Defense Department, the blueprint is they're doing it right up the East Coast. Now, I don't know if that involves, that might be 8 areas. Right up the East Coast.
Yes.
The Defense Department, the Biden's Defense Department doesn't like it. It's dangerous. They don't like it. But everybody sits back and does nothing. Our politicians, even in the small offices that you're elected for, I mean, these are the things that matter to the voter.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And I don't
care about the voter.
I don't understand it. You're right. You're absolutely right.
The voter used to be king.
Yeah.
I mean, the voter, really, truly, and the taxpayer used to be king. And the taxpayer is now a jerk.
That's right. That's right. Linda, as always.
Wait. Just let me say, think about that. John, if it's around 20 cents now, if I say it could possibly be around 40 cents, it might be 60 cents. What do you think this is going to cost you to live?
It's incredible. It really is. I'm. Your call just made me sick thinking about this. Linda, thanks for the call. 609-407-1450. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We're coming up on a break, and then we're going to talk to Roscoe in EHT, and maybe we'll talk to you because we have a couple of open lines here at the end of the show. 609-407-1450. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Truist Bank, ServPro Team Fabiani, Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union, Kramer Beverage, McCree Brothers Blueberry Farm, Menino's Cannoli Express, and Master Wire Manufacturing. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. A high rip current risk in effect through this evening. For this afternoon, humid with times of clouds and sunshine, high up to 82. Cloudy, very warm and humid tonight with a couple of heavy thunderstorms, especially late, so watch out for flooding, low 76. Variably cloudy tomorrow, warmer, very humid with a couple of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, high 92. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Oh, we are back. If you would like to email me during the week, you can feel free to do so at jdadv1. That's jdadv1 at Comcast.net. That's jdadv1 at Comcast.net. Email me anything you like. Program suggestions, comments, etc., etc. We take them all on. We even take Biden fans. There's none of those now. Nobody will do that. We will get to the calls in just a moment. I wanted to tell you, a listener had called a couple of times and asked about the mail-in voting and what is to prevent people from stuffing those special mail-in ballot boxes. I spoke to Joe Girallo yesterday, and he said that all of the mail-in special ballot boxes are equipped with cameras. Okay? Also, there is to be no more than 3 ballots put in at one time. So if there is the camera, they will pick up the fact that somebody tried to get in more than 3 ballots if they do that. And whoever is trying to do that will be contacted by authorities. So you're in big trouble. So stick to the rules and put in your ballot or your neighbor's ballot up to 3, and be advised that there's cameras on all of them. Okay? So that's the answer to the question. And we hope that the listener is listening and got that answer. 609-407-1450, Roscoe in EHT. Roscoe, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, good morning, John. Excuse me. I just wanted to mention 2 things if we have time. First is I went to that EHT meeting, the board meeting.
Yeah.
And, it was pretty well restricted because they acted like they didn't even know what the land was being used, was planned for. They actually didn't. And it took a resident to tell them that it had been purchased and, planned for some use with wind turbines. And they said that the meeting was not about wind turbines. It was about just changing the classification of the acreage of the land that the company wanted.
Yeah, it was about Green Acres, wasn't it? Yeah.
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 So, they didn't want to talk anything about the wind because that was, they said, was probably already approved in Atlantic City, or there was getting close to, and it really wasn't on the venue. But what I wanted to talk about, was GE makes natural gas turbines now that they've greatly improved their efficiency, and they're used in France and Japan, and they power about one can power 600,000 homes, 3 can power close to 250,000 homes. They're used in Japan and France right now, and they've improved their efficiency greatly. It's the Model 9HA, and it's 67% efficient. And I was going to tell them about it. I tried to give the guy some paperwork on it, but they wouldn't take it. They don't do it.
They got their agenda, and don't vary from the agenda. That's
exactly.
That's those things.
I respect that.
About those meetings. Yeah, they're just sometimes they're a dog and pony show.
Well, I do have to give one credit to the guy on the side. He was aghast that they didn't know what the land was being used for or bought for, and that took a resident to tell them who bought it.
Yeah,
and that's why they continued the decision, because the other guy, the chairman, he kind of just wanted them to vote, rubber stamp and vote yes, so that his reason was they wanted it to, he wanted to take part, not have the state tell them what to do with it. He thought they could be overridden. He wanted to be part of the process, which I don't know if I believe that's his motive, but it made a little bit of logic. So that was one thing I wanted to tell you about, because I was concerned. My brother designed the tower for Beasley Point. We're both electrical engineers, so
okay,
and he passed away from a year ago, but he wouldn't like that they tore it down.
Yeah.
But, anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention, if I had time, was about this debate. And I don't know if you've seen the comeback that Biden made yesterday, where he was in a rally and,
I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it.
Well, you can see it online. I mean, he really was rallying the troops that, he lost. He may have lost, but you get up and you fight back. And he actually he sounded good. He sounded a lot better. But the problem is, I mentioned this before, there's two kinds of voters, not Republican and Democrat. There's emotionals and the logicals. Your listeners are pretty much on the logical side.
Yes.
But, if you live in New Jersey, you're exposed to many more emotionals than there are logicals. So I'm, for one, my family, like my wife, she was fairly neutral. But all of a sudden after the debate, she's still neutral, but I'm hearing words about Trump is insane and, the pretty much Trump delusion syndrome that you see.
Yeah.
And that is real. And I would not count out Biden, because he's starting to rally the troops. And with his one-liners.
Yeah, it's not over. It's not over, and people are thinking, on this side. I mean, the Trump side. And I said it before. They're starting to smell themselves. Oh, we got it now. We got it. He was going to win. No. No, you don't got it, because it's 5 months till the election. So.
And, that's a big mistake, because
right.
Trump delusion syndrome is real, and people cannot see the
forest for the trees. Yeah, that's right.
They can't see that Biden lied about the laptop. It got 51 officials. They don't go that deep. They're very superficial.
He's a professional liar. He is a professional liar. Yes, he is.
And let's face it, Trump lies too, but his lies are more of a personal nature, not public. And I can understand it, but it's a matter of who people like.
Yeah.
And did you ever see the movie Cinderella Man, where he got down to come back? That's what that Joe Biden is portraying himself as. Getting sympathy. And I would fall for it too, but I know the shenanigans.
You know better. You know better.
Yeah.
Roscoe, thanks for the call. Yeah. Oh, he is a professional liar. Remember that? I was first in my class in law school. No, he wasn't. He was last. He was dead last. Chuck in Absecon is back. Chuck, good morning.
Hey, John. Thanks for taking my call again. Just on the last caller, just push voting policy, okay? For the people that are squishy out there about not voting for Trump, I mean, for the women, you're not voting for him to be your husband, okay? And for the guys, you're not voting for him to be the Pope.
Yeah.
Okay? We're voting for him to be president, okay? You need somebody with a spine and a backbone. We know he's got that. Look at what he's going through.
Yeah.
Okay? Sean, one thing I wanted to touch on, in this area, I don't know if you discussed it yet on your show, and Trump may have won the election with this. No tax on tips is huge in this area. Okay, I'm in the business. I'm a gourmet waiter in Atlantic City, and we're required to pay $38 an hour. We made an agreement with the IRS, and there's many stipulations on the agreement. Okay, one of them is you won't be audited if you go along with it. How they arrive at it, it's a formula that's it goes back and forth. But I just wanted to let you and the listeners know, in the steakhouses, they're upwards of $65 to $70 an hour that they're required to pay. Okay, and this is, Trump brought this up in Nevada, and if you think about everybody that's in a tip position and relies on tips for their livelihood, this is humongous to these people. Now, I'm talking about valet, bellhops, waiters, bussers, food runners, bartenders, cocktail waitresses, even Hunter Biden's exotic dancers are lumped into this. Okay,
I don't understand. Wait a minute, Chuck. I don't understand it. Who pays the 38 or the 65 an hour? What is that?
We have TEPA agreements. It's tipped employees agreement, IRS agreement. People from the IRS come in to establishments all the time and, wonder, how are you arriving at what you're claiming? What are your sales, this and that? And they have a formula that they go through.
So you have to pay $38 an hour, let's just say.
Correct.
Okay.
So I get, my paycheck is basically nothing. But if he does away with that, we basically would almost double or even more our salaries. If he does away with this. And I mean, this is something that has to go through the Congress, so every state's going to be involved. And what it's going to require is, your senators and your congressmen getting on board with a program, okay? And this is where the whole public gets involved and lobbies the way it's supposed to work. You lobby your representative, and this will be huge. This could be huge. And now everybody's writing on the receipts that we get, vote for Trump, no tips, no taxes on tips. It's like there's a viral underground.
Oh, that's good.
Rock started it when Trump made the announcement in Nevada. Kid Rock started it. He posted it on X, and it went viral.
Oh,
We're
boy.
seeing these all the time.
That's good.
I get a couple a night from the customers that they write on the check, vote for Trump, no taxes on tips.
Well, that's good. You informed us. Thanks for the call, Chuck. You informed us of something that we didn't know, and now we all know that. Jenny and Absecon. Jenny, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, bravo, Chuckles. Bravo, Chuck. Oh, he's a good buddy of mine. I think Trump is just the best. He's got a spine. He's strong. I know of no stronger person ever. I mean, what he goes through, and he doesn't even break a sweat. He's smarter than everybody. He's stronger, and he's courageous. The man's got courage. That's not why I called. I called because Pete Hegseth last night on one of the shows indicated that, in his opinion, Jill Biden is the power behind Joe Biden. And he said maybe she should run. Well, I remember where this happened before. Many, many years ago when I was a young child, there was a governor, I think it was Alabama, named George Wallace.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Remember him?
Yes. Oh, I do.
He was shot, so forth and so on. But then his wife ran for governor.
And she was.
Is that applicable? Could that be applicable to Jill Biden? Maybe that's a question for Seth Grossman.
Well, I don't see why she couldn't run. I mean,
I don't either.
But who would want her? She has no experience. And one of the callers brought up earlier that he has a reliable source that says she's having an affair, or she was having an affair. Her first husband, I think she had an affair on him too. So that's another story. But
yeah, it's another story, but doesn't make her less qualified to be president.
No.
I mean, I'd almost rather, if I were a Democrat, which I am not, I mean, she could be better than Kamala Harris. I mean, almost anybody could.
Well, that's true. Jenny, we got to run. Thanks for the call. We got Andy, and he's in Philly, but he's in Brigantine. He's from Philly, but he's in Brigantine. Yeah. Andy, hi.
Hey, John.
There he is. Sorry.
Good morning, John.
Morning.
Hey, I listen. Yeah, when I'm down at my home in Brigantine, I love listening to your show on Saturday morning. Got a lot of smart people. I've been listening to your show this morning and then running back and forth to the kitchen to make coffee, so I might have missed a few comments. I was paying attention to the debate. I was amazed at how courteous CNN was to Trump. But here's the thing that concerns me. I served in the military. I wasn't, I was an officer. I wasn't a general. I was just a young guy that served for about 30 years and loved the military. My dad served. I have family in the military now. And everybody's going back and forth on what the problem was with Biden. But people have to remember something. This idiot holds the nuclear codes. He has the nuclear codes. He can order a strike. And normally people would say, I was talking to an Army buddy this morning in Washington, D.C. He was saying, well, Andy, he said, I think the chairman and the Joint Chiefs, wait a minute, we have got the worst bunch of flag rank officers serving in the military now than we probably have ever had in the history of this country. We have guys that are politicians. We just got rid of Smiley Millie or whatever his name was. Yeah. We have a spokesman who was an admiral in the Navy who gets up there and tells lie after lie. As a military guy and with kids in the family in the military, I'm really frightened about him calling up a deployment, him ordering a strike, just to preserve his presidency because they never get rid of a wartime president.
No.
We have never gotten rid of a wartime president. This guy not only is a clown, he is absolutely dangerous. And I'll just close by saying this. If the people listening would get a copy of The Laptop from Hell and read it, there's a portion in there going back, I think, 2017 or 2018, where his family began to realize he was suffering from severe memory lapses.
Yeah.
This is going back to 17 and 18. He was starting to fail then. Look where we are right now. My dad, God rest his soul, had Alzheimer's. You have to learn how to communicate with someone that's suffering from Alzheimer's.
Andy, we're up against the clock.
I'll let you go. You have a great show.
Thank you. Well, that's going to wrap up another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Thanks to Heather DeLuca for filling in for Chris Coleman, who does a great job. Thanks to John Runfellow from the Hamilton Chamber for talking about the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival. And thanks to you for listening, because without you, there's no me. I'm John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next Saturday, 9 to noon. Talk with a Purpose. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.